I didn't make the sound today. Hello. Let me remove that. Hello, everyone. Welcome and happy Friday. And I noticed that my head is cut off, so let me just do a little bit of adjusting here. Happy Friday! Welcome, everyone. Hello. I am Chrystelle 𝚘𝚊𝚢, host of the Love and Meaning podcast. And in the podcast, I discuss everything related to living a happiness-forward life. And this is Friday Night Live Dive. We bring the podcast topics to life, and it is an opportunity for integration, connection, getting to know each other, and having a really good time. So welcome. I'm so happy that everyone's here. As you come in, please say hello and let me know what you're celebrating this week. So I know there's a little bit of a lag always. To me, it's like 30 seconds, I think, ahead of everybody else. So as you're coming in, I'll give you a chance. Say hi and let me know what you're celebrating this week. I am very excited. I'm very excited. We got a juicy one this week. Can everybody see my celebration lights? Yes. So I will start with what I am celebrating this week. And I don't know if you noticed, but I have new branding, and that is the thing that I'm celebrating this week. It is making me so happy just to look at it. But here on the YouTube page, you will notice that my handle is now Coaching with 𝚘𝚘. That is me. I am 𝚘𝚘, 𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘. That's my nickname. So Coaching with 𝚘𝚘, there's new branding. I love the colors. It just feels inviting and like me, and it's making me really, really happy, all the changes. So I'm celebrating that. Also on my Instagram, all the branding has been changed. So I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So what are you celebrating this week? I love for us to always start out on a high note. And as you share your celebrations, we will flash you a celebration light. So this is for me and my new branding. All right. So I also have a little bit of an announcement. It's not really an announcement, but I'm going to switch things up a little bit as there haven't been that many questions coming in yet. So in the meantime, as more and more questions start to come in, I would love to use this space and this opportunity, especially when it's just a small group of us, to really work on integration. So it is, one thing to learn something, but really to take it to the next step and integrate it is the whole point. So let's use this space as an opportunity for integration. And I am really excited about this week's topic, which was related to this week's podcast. The podcast airs every Monday, 8 a.m. EST on here, my YouTube page, Coaching with 𝚘𝚘, on Spotify and on Apple Podcast. So any of those platforms, you can check out the podcast every Monday, 8 a.m. EST. It launches. You have the whole week to check it out. And then Friday, come here, hang out with me, and we will dive deep into it. The whole main purpose is so that you can really ask your questions, and it can really help with bringing the topics to life, like really making it practical and applicable to your life. And so you can ask questions underneath the podcast on any of the platforms. You can ask right into, like if you're watching on YouTube, just put your questions right there in the comments, and I will address it that coming Friday. So that's what this is really all about. In the meantime, we are going to integrate. So this week, as you're coming in, say hi, please. Let me know what you're celebrating so we can celebrate together. Collective energy is the most powerful. So let's celebrate that all together. I would love to bring good juju to everything that's working out for you. So this week is all about episode number 14. And episode number 14 is the results of the 2-week rest challenge. Holy bleep. Like, this changed my life. Like, I am a new person. I am a new person. So I'm so pumped. I'm not going to go into the full details. If you haven't done the challenge, if you haven't checked out the episode and you haven't done the challenge, go and check out the episode. That's episode 12. And then the results are episode number 14. Go and check out the episode. All the details are in there. So I'm not going to go into detail on what I shared in the episode, but I am going to tell you point form what the results are. I broke it down into what I did, what the results were, like the tangible results, and then what my takeaways were. So I'm going to share them with you in brief, but if you want it in detail, you want to try it out, and I highly recommend that you do, check out the episode. So, hi Crete, it's your mommy. Hi mama. Today, you guys might want to grab your journal. If you haven't grabbed your journal, maybe go run and get it. Because we're gonna dig in, and yeah, we're gonna get interactive, and I want you to participate, and I want to hear what you are really contemplating on. And if you're catching this on the replay, do this activity with yourself. So this is a great one to bring your journal with. I think going forward, we're going to make it like that. You might want to bring your journal with you. I will post all the questions in the show notes afterwards, but let's get deep together. In the meantime, so let me share with you, okay? 2-week rest challenge. I posed this for myself because I just was feeling completely out of sorts, and something intuitively told me that I need to take a step back and just kind of analyze what's going on. And I can do that better in a slow place. I'm also a projector, a human design projector, and projectors have inconsistent energy. And so I had a feeling I was burning myself out a little bit, that I was pushing it too far, So let me tell you in very brief point form what the results were, and then we'll get into integrating this, okay? So while you're grabbing your journals, let me tell you. Okay, so these are the things that I integrated. These are the things that I changed for the rest challenge. Where is it? Well, now I don't see it here, but I remember what they are. Okay, so the main things that I did was I made sure to go to sleep on time. So I'm talking 7 to 8 hours. Actually, this morning I woke up 30 minutes before my alarm. So it seems to me like 7.5 hours is my sweet spot. What is your sweet spot? I would recommend you do that. Not everybody needs the same amount of sleep. So for me, it's 7 to 8 hours. So I've been doing my darndest to go to bed on time and get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. That was number one. Number two, I kind of adjusted. So I meditate every morning, and I've called it meditation/contemplation time. So I'll either do a meditation or I will contemplate on something that I already kind of have percolating inside of me. I tend to use the Gene Keys a lot for this, but you can use anything. Sometimes people like to use poetry, read a passage. Sometimes people use the Bible, whatever works for you, but something that that helps you to go deep, connect with yourself, speak to the universe in that very open and honest way with yourself, and let the answers come. So I moved into a place of using my intuition to decide what I do in that morning. So I did that. And then I also implemented rest kind of breaks throughout the day. So I would take like short little breaks throughout the day, even while I'm at my job. And I'll just either breathe, meditate, contemplate something, or just sit outside. Okay. The third thing, I think this is number 3. I'm bad with numbers, guys. So if I mess that up, it doesn't matter. I implemented exposing myself to nature. Okay. So it's part of my kind of daily routine because I have a dog. And so I have to walk the dog. But I tend to just make it a get outside, do your business daily, and then we go back inside kind of situation. So instead, sorry guys. So instead, I stayed really present and just walked with her. Like I took myself for a walk and I take the dog for a walk. Yesterday's, oh my gosh, was it yesterday? Was that yesterday? I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. It was so gorgeous because it's been crazy hot here, and then it was, like, not so hot. It was so wonderful. Um, and we live by the water, so we just kind of slowly walked, and it got breezier. It's just so beautiful. So I've been connecting with nature by really being present on these walks and taking in my environment. And then the last thing that I don't know if I want to call it implemented or took away actually, is that I purposefully am unplugging. So one of the things that I found was kind of a numbing agent for me is that I will overconsume content when I guess I'm anxious or I'm avoiding something, or it turned out I was hiding, trying to kind of hide from my true desires. And the thing is where it's tricky is I'm consuming helpful content. So be careful with yourself because if you're like me, which is likely if you're here, like you're an inner work person, you know what I mean? So we're watching very helpful YouTube videos, or coaching content. It's good stuff, reading really interesting books, but they there's a limit. There's a time when it's like you're just trying to not hear your own voice or your own thoughts. And then there's like, this is helpful. And I was crossing over the line. So I had to find a right balance. So I'm spending a lot more time in silence just with myself. So those are the things that I changed for myself for my 2-week rest challenge. I highly recommend that you establish for yourself what those things are. And when we get into the activity that we'll do today, I'm going to ask you that right away. Okay. That's going to be the first thing that we cover. Okay. So those are the things. Now, I'm here until 6:45 as usual. It's mass night, which, is my stabilizer. Absolutely. So, and I highly encourage you doing that. So thank you for coming. And you can just catch the rest on the replay. So that was the things that I implemented for my rest challenge for myself. Okay. Now, in point form, here are the results. Okay. Wild. I'm like freaking out. Okay. So, as you know, I wasn't feeling very well. I'm not going to get into it again. Talked all about in the past 2 weeks. All of my symptoms that I was experiencing dissipated. Okay. Number one. Number two, the coach in me emerged. I realized that in the silence, in these moments with myself, I realized that there is something that I wanted to do and I wasn't allowing myself to do it. So I actually figured out and found out that there's a major change and transition that was ready to happen in my life. And so that happened. 3, the quote is, "You have such a lovely energy." And that was my husband. Um, Throughout that time, multiple times, my husband mentioned to me that my energy felt lovely. So that's huge for me. That means the world to me. That's what I want to be like all the time. And it's amazing how much rest affects my energy. And just knowing that he noticed and that it had a positive effect on him, positive effect on our relationship means the world to me. Relationships are very important to me. So huge. 4, I became more productive, not less. Wild, right? 5, I was able to hear my guides, even to the point of telling me what to eat. So literally, I've been intuitively eating. Like you need more fat, you need more protein. I need fruit. Like my body is telling me what I need to eat, and it is. I think that probably has a lot to do with why my symptoms dissipated. I was feeling a lot of GI stuff. So I'm hearing my guides in all ways, obviously, including moving into coaching, like shifting my entire business. You know what I mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 6. This might be weird. I was less hungry. I am less hungry and I have less cravings. I guess it's not actually that weird because I think a lot of people stress eat. I think a lot of people numb through food. I am guilty of that. I'm a food number. Does that make sense? I definitely numb with food and I numb with content. So it's something that went away when I was actually giving myself rest and space. Amazing. I found that I was less defensive and better able to take in good advice. Okay. And again, if you want to go into details and hear really all about this, check out the episode. I'm just listing the results. The next one was prioritizing became easier, not harder. So one of the absolutely amazing things is two things. One, I realized that some of the things that I thought I had to do, I didn't actually care about and didn't need to do, or they took care of themselves. And two, many of the things that I was procrastinating, things that I thought that I didn't have time for, time was made for it. And again, it's about prioritizing. And I think it's because when I have in my mind to-do list, to-do list, to-do list, there's this like very strict, tight thing of things to do. It doesn't necessarily mean they're the best thing for you to do. But when I actually take space, it was so much easier for me to be like, I can do that later. I don't need to do that at all. I don't even care about that anymore. But this thing, I found myself just having the spontaneous energy to be like, okay, go and start working on the wedding thank yous, So that was kind of amazing. And that was the last one. Things were naturally, so I found the time to do things that I had been putting off. So there are a lot of results. Okay. Say hi as you come in and let me know what you're celebrating. Oh, Mom, what are you celebrating this week? And in the meantime, I'm listing my results of the 2-week rest challenge. Also, you might want to grab your journal because we are going to get into now you possibly implementing this. Okay. And so my takeaways were that for me, one wouldn't think you're a food number looking at your size. I know, but you can ask my husband. Actually, you can ask any of my friends. People are always like, why are you that small? You eat a lot. And I do eat a lot. But yeah, and I definitely wasn't actually always like that. But I feel like in different stages of our life, we choose different coping strategies. But I have become more of a sweet tooth as I've gotten older. I don't know if it's hormonal or something, but I've definitely become more of a sweet tooth person. And obviously my time of the month, that affects everything. But yeah, no, it's true. Okay, so let me know say hello as you come in and let us know what you're celebrating this week. Okay. So I'm covering my takeaways from hi, Steph. Oh my gosh, this means the world to me. Hi, Steph. Let us know what you're celebrating as you come in. Oh my God, thank you for being here. This is so awesome. So what we're covering is the last episode, which was the results of a 2-week rest challenge that I did. So my takeaways, I just covered the results of the results of the challenge, like the benefits that I came about. Now I'm covering the takeaways. Alana says you're lucky with your gene metabolism. Yes, I got that from you. Okay, so the takeaways are, for me, I can't read my writing. Oh, the urgency to do something is usually a sign for me to pause. Huge. Because this actually even translates into in the moment, so across the board. Before I would plug in, before I would just numb out with more content, or before I will numb out with what can I eat, what sweet thing can I go to, or something like that. If I'm feeling anxious, if I'm having, probably it's like subconscious thoughts that I'm trying to run away from, if I use that. So if I feel like I need to do something, it must. It's coming from this urgent place, not like I am so inspired right now to do this thing. It's not like that. It's like, I have to do this. That feeling, this like pressure feeling, and it's usually like in my tummy area. If I feel that, it's a sign to pause. So what I'll do is I'll sit and I'll just breathe. I'll either sit and just breathe or I'll lie down. That helps me a lot. So just like be horizontal, just lie down, sometimes with my eyes open, sometimes with my eyes closed, and just breathe and just feel into my body and feel into the place where I'm feeling wherever the anxiety is. Aha moment already. Resonating. Urgency equals timeout. Yes. Yes. Oh, I love that. Yes. Huge, 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 huge. Because the thing that happened every single time was my body calmed down. So I gave the attention to the thing that my body was really asking me to do, which was process my emotions. I gave it the attention. And then as soon as my body was satisfied, like as soon as my nervous system relaxed, that craving, that hunger went away, or that just desire to plug into something changed. So sometimes I really did want to listen to something, or there was something that I needed to check out. But now I actually heard my nudges, like from my inner guides, where it would be like, go and read this thing, or go and listen to this module of that thing. It wasn't just like plug into anything. It would be like a specific direction. And every time I followed it, it was exactly what I needed, exactly what I was looking for. Wow, you just taught me something, because my personality is, I really hate that the heart's coat right in front of, is do it as soon as it comes to mind. Yes. The thing is with that, at least I can say for myself, is that I find that that do it kind of energy is actually usually anxiety speaking. When it's the energy of like, I really want to do something and it's like the right thing to do, it feels exciting. It feels like an aha. It feels inspirational. So like, if anybody has ever like, if you've engaged in like writing, okay, and you've been trying to think of something to write on, and then you get that idea and you're like, oh my gosh, and you run and you go and you jot it down or you record it in your phone. That is not the same feeling of like, I need to check off all these things on the list. Like, I have to get this done. I need to call this person and make that appointment. Like, it's just this weird, energy that you don't actually even want to transfer into the thing that you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to receive the phone call from you in that energy? You know, whatever the thing is, or if it's like talk to somebody about something, like they don't want to talk to you in that energy. So that's what I found with myself. So I don't know if it could be really similar. Is to like pay attention to how the urgency feels. It feels a little bit different when it's like an inspired action. Like when I had the inspired action to start the invites, sorry, not the invites, the thank yous for the wedding. It felt like this would be really fun to do right now. I have not thought that was really fun to do for the past 9 months. Why was it fun now? And like even in my memory, like it will come up. I'm not done. I'm not even close to done. But it has come up multiple times in my mind, like, oh, I'm going to get to that. And the feeling about it is not of annoyance. It feels like I'm looking forward to writing them, That was not the way that it was feeling before. So it's different. Okay. This is a good one, right? So that was takeaway number one. Takeaway number two, I actually understood the get to energy over have to. And this is really similar to what I just said. So one of the things that I've covered in many different inner work teachings from many different teachers, many different books, is shifting your energy around the things that we have to get done. Last episode, we talked about things that we just have to get done, right? Like driving the kids to camp, or cleaning the apartment, right? Things have to get done. So it's not quite the same as the last takeaway, but similar energetics. We have to do these things. It's called being an adult, right? So part of your adult life, you have a home, you clean it, or you hire someone to clean it. But like this whole idea of like, like whining about, you have a house. Like this is how it goes. Like it needs to be clean and you want it to be clean. So having a very different energy around it changes the way that you feel. It changes the way that you operate and it actually brings so much more appreciation and gratitude. I've heard this so many times. It didn't sink in the way that it sunk in over the past 2 weeks. Like it didn't sink in like that until now. And there's something about taking a pause, looking at what are the things that you have to do, not from this place of I'm an automaton moving through my life, but I am a human being who has created this life for myself, and there are multiple ways that I can navigate it. Going from that place, all the things that I'm doing, including the things that I have to do, they feel a lot more like choices. And they feel a lot more like the privileges that they are. You know, one of the examples that I used in the episode is like, so it's been crazy hot here in New York. So my husband has been watering the garden. It's so easy to be like, "Ugh, I came home from work and I have to water the garden. It's so annoying. There's something else I have to do." But we have a garden. I mean, how lucky are we that we have this lush thing in the background that we get to sit in front of and bring us joy and hear the birds chirp? It needs to be watered. Like that's how it stays flourishing, you know? And I really felt the get to energy in that rather than the I have to. So that was the second takeaway. And then the third takeaway that I had was about the sensitivity of my body and its ability to really tell me what I need. And I think this varies between people, but I think we all have this kind of intuitive aspect of ourselves. But I think a lot of times we don't listen, you know? I think a lot of times our body is telling us things a lot quieter until you have to get the like illness to listen, you know what I mean? So this entire rest challenge came because Chrystelle didn't listen. And so I ended up really not feeling well. But if I think back, there were signs and I saw them and I knew them and I didn't listen. So I'm really appreciating the sensitivity of my body and honoring listening to its wisdom because that's what it is. It's wisdom. It's intuitive wisdom. And then the last takeaway, which is probably my favorite, is that everything is connected. So as you can see, I took the rest challenge for my health, right? I'm feeling better. My husband tells me your energy is lovely. That's only a plus for my relationship. I have the intuition that I've been hiding behind human design, but behind the things that the way that my business is moving forward rather than fully emerging as the coach that I am, had that intuition, changed everything and branding changed, name change, like really stepping forward in what it is that I want to do. Health, relationship, business, all of this came because I decided to live a much more healthy, rested life for 2 weeks. Like, what? I did not predict that that could be the case, you know? So, really, everything is connected. I've had many teachers tell me, many different coaches and spiritual teachers tell me that whatever area of inner work that you're working on, it affects all the others. So, don't worry that, like, I need to be working on this and this and this and that. Whatever it is that you are intentionally doing work on, that you're moving forward on, that you are growing in, it is improving every area of your life. I cannot attest to this more. Like, such a powerful, powerful, powerful takeaway for me. So, those were the results. Those were the results. So, this is the moment where I want for you to take your journals and I want us to like dive in. Like let's integrate this, okay? So, yeah. And let me know how you're feeling. I haven't seen what you guys are celebrating yet for the week. I'm still waiting. So let me know what your celebrations are this week. Pick one thing. What is the one thing that you are celebrating from this week? I guarantee there are multiple, but what is one thing that you really want to bring forward and recognize and give gratitude towards? And we will all collectively add to that for you. I shared that I am celebrating my new branding here on my YouTube page, on my Instagram, and how much I'm loving the energetics of it, the look of it, and I just feel really free and excited. So now it's your turn, okay? So I have some questions for you. Whether you answer them now, which would be awesome if you wanted to just share them in the chat, or you do this later, I want you to contemplate this, okay? Okay, Steph, congratulations. Thank you. Celebrating divine sisterhood this week. I love that. And I'm so adding to that because you're here. You are here. So this is the celebration light. Woo! Sending out all the good celebration energy to you. That is absolutely beautiful. It's a priceless thing to have in your life. I know it is for me. I don't know what I would be without my friends, my sisters, my chosen sisters. Alana, I am celebrating my relationship of 53 years and marriage of 48 years. Oh my gosh. Congratulations. Yes, guys, my parents have been married for 48. I'm so bad with left and right with this thing. Woo! Epic marriage anniversary celebration. 48 years married. I mean, what a blessing. I have such a beautiful example. Congratulations. And 53 years together. My God. I feel like you don't really hear that much these days, you know? Okay, so these are the questions that I'm asking of you. Congratulations, Alana. Yeah, what an example indeed. Seriously. And they are such a beautiful example of people that are in love. It's actually amazing to see. They have set the bar really high for me, and I'm so appreciative of the standards that I've been given. Okay, so if you are implementing your own rest challenge, all right, and want to add in whatever changes, adjustments you know would be helpful to you, this is my first question for you. Okay. So, what does rest look like to you? What does rest look? So, what you'd be writing down is what does rest look like to me? Okay. I said my things in the beginning. If you're not a person that listens to a lot of content, the plugging in part, like, so my thing was like not plugging in all the time, that won't mean anything to you. So, it wouldn't even make sense for you to just duplicate my things. But what does rest look like to you? So it's not just sleeping, you know? For me, it's meditation. For me, it was reading time, not audio, but like actually reading, going out in nature. My bedtime, obviously. That one might be universal, getting enough sleep. I suggest that one. I recommend it. Obviously, you don't have to listen, but I recommend it. But again, sleep times differ for different people, right? So, what are those things for you? And what I want you to kind of think about are what were those routines? I guarantee there's been a time in your life where you were kind of optimal with some of these things. Okay. So, can you think back to what were some of those routines that you used to have? And in that time, you felt like you were really healthy, or you felt a lot more calm, or your mood was more even, or whatever it is. Think about those routines that you've had, or those real energetic boosters that you've had in your life at one time and maybe have fallen off. Okay. The ones that you don't always put into place, but you know they work really well for you. So I want you to sit and actually really think about what those things are for you. So it's really different depending on the person. Like for example, I'm pretty sure something related to music will be what it is for my husband. And that's like, for some people, that may be like, well, that seems like work, like he likes to make music, he like production. But I think there's a flow aspect to it. So for a lot of people, if you're an artistic person, that is actually restful for you. Um, my best friend, for example, is an artist, and it doesn't really things don't really flow the same for her when she finds that she's not painting or she's not engaging in something artistic. But sometimes because of life, she'll fall into a mode of not. So for her, being rest oriented would actually involve making sure that there is space and time to do her art. Mine is short periods of alone time, recollecting. Ooh, you nailed one. You nailed one. For some people, are you getting alone time? Like, do you take any space to yourself? If we want to come at that, like, from a human design perspective, it is very, very likely that you do have some open center. So I don't care who you are. You benefit from some time in your own energy, because when we are with other people, we are taking in their energy. And it's not like bad people, I mean, anyone. And you need to be who you are. You need to release and be in your own energy in order to truly hear your own nudges, be in alignment with your own desires, right? So, very, very, very good question. Are you taking alone time? That is a big one for me. That's a big one for me. And I guess I didn't add it in because I already do take quite a bit of alone time, and I make sure that I do. That's one that it's very non-negotiable for me. So excellent. Thank you for that, Alana, because that is a really good that's a really, really good one. For those of you with children, I know that that can be a challenge, right? If you have kids, but are there times that you can kind of think about the opportunities where you don't have the kids, like whether they're in school or daycare or camp, or, doing something with your partner, whatever the reason is, on a play date, it might seem like great opportunity to get things done. But again, remember, one of the results was I was actually more productive than less productive. Is actually the best thing for your energy to use that time for self-care, like to prioritize giving yourself self-care. You might be surprised as to how much more productive you'd be in other moments, even with the kids, if you choose that time is for yourself. These are just suggestions, but I want you to genuinely sit and contemplate. What are those things that equal rest for you? Okay. And if you guys come up with more things, please share. Please, please, please share. That's really exciting. Okay. So the next part that I thought it would be really helpful for us to go into is to kind of talk about why. Why is it, oops, why is it that we know, right, that there are these things that are super helpful for us to be working on, super helpful for us to be doing. Like, I know that I need a lot of rest, and yet still I'm not doing it. Why is that? Why do we know something is really, really helpful for us and we still don't prioritize it or do it? And so this is going to take some contemplation. This is going to take some contemplation, deep contemplation. You're welcome to share your thoughts as right here with all of us, and you'll notice that is, if you're often not alone. Like, if you're experiencing it, someone else can relate. I absolutely promise you. So if you want to share right here in the chat, or if you're watching this on the replay in the comments, that is amazing. You're helping everybody. But let's get into, why is it difficult? Like, where's the challenge coming for us? And why do we make it difficult to do things that are good for us? And before we move on to that, I'm asking for you guys to please like this video so that other people can find it. It is so helpful to the algorithm for likes and comments and subscriptions. So take a moment to like if you haven't yet. Mwah. Thank you very much. Okay, so why? Why? Why don't we do the things that we know are best for us? Okay. And there are three things that I think there are more than three things, period. But there are three things that I came up with that I think are really helpful. Steph says, sometimes I lack the discipline, even though I know it's helpful. For example, that meditation, I think there's a word I'm missing. It's really annoying how I'm going to look on my phone. For example, that meditation always results in feeling better. Yeah, absolutely. So, like, why don't you just meditate, right? It's like, I know I'm going to feel better, but somehow I just don't do it. I don't make the time or something else that I need to do. And sometimes the thing that we're doing instead is like not helpful. Like sometimes you find yourself scrolling on Instagram instead of meditating. And it's like, really? Did you? Why? What? What is this? Like, do I not like myself? Is that what it is? And I don't believe that that's what it is. I think there are multiple reasons for why. And there are three that I've come up with, and I want to I'm going to share them, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts. And also, if you come up with other things, I want you to share them. But like, yeah, I feel like discipline, at least for me, it doesn't really work. I don't know if I'm even saying that right. Just like the idea of like I'm going to do it because I should. That is often what I associate with discipline. And maybe that's just coming from an extremely stubborn, strong-willed person. But the idea that I just should do something, it doesn't work for me. Um, in translation to human design, if you have an open heart, that is likely how you feel as well. We don't work well with like, oh, you just should do it. Okay, cool. I'll know that I should, but it's not very motivating. Like the idea, like willpower, just doing it for it's not very motivating. So if you find that that is a difficult thing for you, you likely have an open heart in your design chart and you are not abnormal. And I think we are taught in our society to rely far too heavily on willpower. It doesn't work. And every fad diet that everybody has taken and then doubled in pounds afterwards is the living proof of it. It doesn't work, right? So what does work? And here are some of the things I came up with. Okay. So there's three things. So one, unconscious programming is pervasive. Okay. So the only way to change it is to destabilize it. And we need to question the old story and question it a lot. So the thing is that there is a momentum in our lives, right? There is a momentum in us going and going and going and going and going. You know how momentum works. You can't just press the brakes. It's an extremely jarring experience, right? So, ciao. Have a good time at church. So it's an extremely jarring experience to be in momentum and then just press the brakes. What caused the momentum? This is where we need to start slowly pressing the brakes, slowly going back in the other direction. And that is questioning and destabilizing the story. Okay. So, for example, the idea that like requiring discipline to meditate, requiring if it's around food and stuff like that, the idea that it's a challenge in that moment is the thing that I'd want to question. So if I actually take that moment to have a conversation with myself, right? If I'm having the kind of thing like, oh, I don't have time to do this right now. I don't have time to put this in today, right? How often have we used that as an excuse? It's not necessarily true. I don't have time to meditate right now. Question one, if I ask myself, do I want to meditate? Stop and ask myself the question, do I want to meditate right now? What if the answer is no? Okay. So then we just saved myself beating myself up about it. Oftentimes, I think the answer is probably yes. Okay, so the answer is yes. All right. Do you truly not have time to meditate right now? Okay, well, let me like actually practically look at the amount of time. All right, so I have 45 minutes before I need to leave the house. I could meditate for 15 minutes. It will take me 25 minutes or so to shower and get dressed. Okay. No, I no, I probably do have time. I was realistically probably just going to walk back and forth, look at my phone, open Instagram, maybe look at my email and make tea for 10 minutes rather than just put the kettle on and pour it. Okay, I probably do have time. So, actually challenge the mode, like challenge the belief, like challenge the story. That has helped me a lot. So, that unconscious programming that we're moving in, it needs to be destabilized, and it can be easily destabilized with questions. Okay? So that's number 1. And there is far more depth that we can go into on that, but actually start to identify the programming that you are operating in. Just simply observe it, and it's not meant to be in judgment, okay? So I just wanna put that out there. This is not an opportunity to beat yourself up because that does not work at all. But I know for myself before when and we were using the example of meditation, before I was able to implement meditation in my life, and now I feel like I can't live without meditation in my life. My story was always I didn't have time. I was like, well, people meditate for an hour. Well, people meditate for 5 minutes and 10 minutes and 15 minutes and 20 minutes and 1 hour. And if you like Joe Dispenza, 88 minutes. Oh my gosh, he has this, how do you say that word? Pineal gland? I cannot say that word. Gland. The one, the third eye one. 88 minutes. Like, and I have somehow found the time to do that meditation 3 times. But that one is tougher to fit it in. But can I do a 5 minute? Can I do a 10-minute meditation? There are so many ways to like destabilize and actually challenge the thought process. Okay. If you guys have other examples of this, that is beautiful. Let me think if I can think of one. This is a good example. I for like doing things for my business, like I sometimes create a story that I can't do something, right? Like I don't know how to before I was like I don't know how to, do social media, like I don't know how to do Instagram. Um it wasn't that hard. Okay? I just first of all needed to admit to myself I didn't want to. And then when I realized that I actually did want to, it was so easy. So, and then other parts of it. So, for example, making it difficult for myself to post in a certain schedule. And then there was the question of why? Why do you need to post in that schedule? Oh, I guess it doesn't really matter. Are you just interested in posting for posting? I talked about this last week. Are you just interested in posting for posting? Or were you interested in sharing things that light you up that you know will be helpful to other people? And it feels so good when you create it, and it feels so good for you to post it in that same energy. Yeah, I like that one. Okay, let's do that then. The thing you were avoiding was a thing that you didn't even have to do. So just start these conversations with yourself, okay? So that's number 1. Start to destabilize the unconscious programming. Start to ask yourself questions. I think it's Tony Robbins that says, oh my gosh, I always butcher it. I think he says the best way to destabilize a table is to cut one of the legs off. Sounds kind of crude when I said it like that, but make it wobbly. Make the thing that you're just riding on with such confidence, make it wobbly. Test it. Is this true? Investigate it. Ask yourself questions, okay? Number 2. And how are you guys feeling? What's coming through for you? I'd love to hear from you. Share if anything's coming up. Or if it feels like, can you think of a situation where you wouldn't know how to question it, and then we can do it together? If there's anything coming up for you. Or just let me know if that makes a lot of sense and it's something that you actually would want to try. So, like, really have a conversation with yourself when you find that you're in a kind of mode of the same perpetual whatever it is that you don't want to do anymore. And then we will get into number 2. Yes, it's the checking in with self. Yeah. Yeah, just taking a moment, Okay, awesome. Okay, so number 2, identify how are you benefiting from not changing? How are you benefiting from keeping things the same? This was a huge game changer for me. And I learned that years ago. And still to this day, there are times when I forget to ask myself the question. And then when I ask the question, I'm freaking shocked at the answer. Like, my mind is blown, you know? Whenever we're doing something, even when it's a thing that we're saying that we don't want to do or that we don't like, or there's a circumstance in our life that keeps perpetuating, right? And you don't like it, I promise you, on some level, you are benefiting from it. And this is subconscious, okay? So this is not like purposefully self-sabotaging, but it is really in a way self-sabotaging. So how are you benefiting from the not changing? So one of the recent examples that came up for me was, it was avoiding the scary thing of coming out, basically coming out as myself. When my business was human design, I got to hide behind a structure, a system. It's the system. This is the thing that you're working with. It's not just me. Like, just me? It felt scary. And on some level, I was protecting myself from that. And so, in that go, 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 in that rush, rush, rush energy, in that I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that, this is fine, I'm not thinking about it, we're just going to keep going, I was avoiding answering questions that my subconscious, my inner being had been asking me and nudging me towards. Like, is this really what you want to do? Is this fully what you want to do? No, it wasn't. So it benefited me. It benefited me to stay exactly where I was. It felt safer, even though it wasn't actually what I wanted, because safe is synonymous with familiar. Safe when it comes to the energetics of life, when it comes to our feelings, right? What feels safe to us is what we know. It's not necessarily what's best for us. And you will see this pattern over and over and over again in your life and in the other people around you. It's the same reason that people find themselves staying in relationships that are unhealthy for a very long time, right? Safe simply means familiar, and unfamiliar feels unsafe to your nervous system. Sometimes unfamiliar is the best thing for you. So unfamiliar was me coming out fully as Coach Chrystelle, open for business. That was a really scary thing to just put out there. It's one thing if people reach out to me on the side, right? Like when I have individuals that come to me in my life, but to actually stand up in front of the public and say that really tested my worthiness and my feelings, my courage, and I was benefiting from the hiding. So you shine alone as a coach. As a coach, no need for any add-ons. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that stuff. It means the world to me. And I'm so excited because the thing is, on the other side of that, even though I felt like I was benefiting while I kept myself where I was, I feel amazing. Like, I feel amazing. I haven't been able to like come down from this. Like, it feels so good to be our authentic selves. It really does. At the end of the day, all we want to be is ourselves. I mean, the whole thing that most people are struggling with is like desiring love, right, from others. What do you want to be loved? Your true self. That's what you want. Even if we're hiding ourselves because we don't think that self is good enough, what you desire is for others to love and recognize you for you. Being in our own authenticity feels like nothing else in the world. So that is always the benefit on the other side. That doesn't mean it's easy, and it's okay, right? I have full compassion for myself that it took me this long to get here. It's totally fine. But doing this work, asking myself these questions is all part of the process. And honestly, if I didn't go through it myself, it wouldn't be as helpful. I wouldn't have the lesson to share, And I'm really grateful for that. So ask yourself, how are you benefiting from not changing? And sometimes all it takes is answering the question and shocking yourself. Like for me, for this one, it was just like shocking myself. Sometimes it identifies something else you need to work on more. Sometimes it identifies it's time for a trauma coach or a therapist, but it's still the next step. That's the next step forward. Okay. And number three, and let me know how this is resonating with you. So number three is identify your true whys. Okay? Whys. WHYS. And I mean a big why. All right? So this is another one for me. For those of you that really do operate on willpower, good on you. Go for it. You know what I mean? But for me, it doesn't work. So the other added layer that is so important is that I'm not just going to do something to do something. I need to know why I'm doing it, and it needs to be a good one. Okay. So identify what your why is. It is so much easier to move forward. I mean, it's not even easier. It's almost impossible to truly move forward and commit to something if you don't know why you're doing it. All right. And sometimes your whys are unconscious, and there are things that the thing that's actually motivating you goes back to number two, and your why is actually why you're staying where you are, you know? So, what is your why? So, for me, in this case, and I'm using the coaching example, um, I have some huge whys. My whys are my family, right? Like, there's a life that I want to be able to give to my family, myself, my husband, my future children, my parents, my sibling. Like, my family is the greatest motivator for me. My freedom, my freedom. I have so many things that I desire to do with my life, including this dream and this mission that I have for my soul. But like traveling the world, like I want my time to be my time. That is a huge motivator for me. So, my freedom, my soul's mission. I could fight this calling until the end of time, but I find myself constantly doing it anyways. I didn't become an occupational therapist by accident. I haven't been coaching my friends and doing therapy with my friends without knowing it my whole life for no reason. Like, I can't help. I can't help that this is what I'm here to do. And so I know that there's a big calling inside of me, and the more that I deny it, the more that I literally like feel sick about it. So that is a huge why for me. I want to leave a legacy that my soul chose to really engage in here. And then another huge why for me is giving back. That is something that is super important to me. And to be honest, the only way to do that is with like financial success, because I'm not the kind of activist that's going to be like there on the front lines, picketing and stuff. And sometimes I find that people get so righteous. Sometimes some of the things that people get the most righteous about is because they have that strong give back energy in them, but they actually realize they're not giving back much, right? What kind of give back are you? Are you just the person that argues strongly for something with random people on the street and feel really righteous about it, but then like that's the end of it? Like, I want to actually give. And the easiest way for me to do that, the most powerful way for me to do that is with financial incentive, right? I would like to be able to make changes in the world in ways that it matters to me, like huge changes. And so my business has a lot to do with that. And so these are huge whys that are motivating me, that are deep in my soul, deep in my gut. And I can get up every morning, look at them, and feel completely vitalized by doing this. One of my old coaches, when I'm not really an affirmation person so much. I don't, at least not traditionally the way that people do them. But one of my old coaches taught me to do affirmations, but the way that she said that you do them is with a why attached. And that was the best way that I've ever worked with affirmations. So you would say whatever the affirmation is, and it will be like, because I blah blah blah, whatever it is, like I love my children and want to see the smiles on their face and have them have a healthy life, whatever it is. Like, that was so powerful for me. So what is your big why? Have you even taken the time to ask yourself what your big whys are? You know, are you so caught up in the mundane and just the everyday life stuff that you've kind of turned into a robot, and you don't even realize why you're doing what you're doing, So what are your big whys? And are you attached to it? And how much does these things, the changes that you want to make in your life, motivate your why? How much does your why motivate you wanting to do this? So those were 3 things that I found that were really, really helpful to dive into, assess with myself, contemplate with myself, in order for me to implement the changes that I made in my life. And I would love for you to do the same. So my challenge for you is, if you really want to take this challenge on, is to ask yourself those questions and take some time with it, like sit with it, journal with it, contemplate on it, and then go for it. And then let me know how it works out. And if you want to hear more details, again, check out the episode. I really go into detail with how it went for me. But I think that this could be highly beneficial to a lot of people. Some of these results really shocked the living crap out of me, like that food one. That is so weird. Like, I can't believe it. Like, I'm literally eating less. It's so bizarre. But we all need to have our nervous systems be in tune. You know what I'm saying? So that's it for today. That is the integration for today. I think that this could be really, really, really impactful. And if you found this stuff really helpful, and you find that you're also a person who the knowledge, right? Like this knowledge, you have difficulty bridging the knowledge into the becoming. This is where I think one-on-one coaching can be extremely impactful for you. And one of the things that I'm masterful at for myself and for other people is identifying those. Oh, this notification came up in the middle of my face, but it looks like you can't see it on there. All right, can't see my face, but that's okay. No, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So one of the things I'm really masterful at is identifying the limiting beliefs that are in the way of you, of us really stepping into what it is that we want to be and do in our lives. So keeping us the things, identifying those limiting beliefs that keep us in the place that we don't want to be, even though you, without a doubt, know where you want to be. This is the thing. Like, even when you know exactly where you want to be, right? There are still like these limiting beliefs that keep you where you are. And I'm very skilled at being able to identify those for myself and helping and identify those for other people. So if you have found this kind of stuff to be really, really helpful, then this is where one-on-one coaching can be extremely impactful. So my link for a 20-minute clarity call is in the show notes. And it's where we can discuss your goals and see that we're a good match to working together. And I also would like to say that if this is something that you're considering, this is an excellent time to jump in because I do have some specialty prices going on as I am officially starting. So, if this is calling to you, if you feel like you are ready to step up your game, and this is not just like jump in on it because the prices are great. I mean, like if you are really ready to be your own best student, then it'll be my absolute pleasure to work with you. And I would absolutely love for you to maximize on these really great prices right now. So, Clarity Call link is in the show notes. And I hope that everybody has a wonderful weekend. Oh, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I can't wait to see you wherever I see you, whether that's here on my YouTube page, new handle, Coaching with Cree, or on my Instagram, which also, again, new handle, Coaching with Cree, or maybe in a one-to-one setting. Wherever I see you, I'm so looking forward to it. Thank you. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye.